diving into a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and I think near and dear to the hearts of those of you business owners out there with teams. And it's all about empowering your team to have more efficiency and independence so you don't feel like you have to hover over them and watch every single little thing. If that is you, stay tuned because that's where we're heading up next. Hello, and welcome. I am Deanna Maio. I'm the founder and director of The Vivid Woman. And today we are talking about how you can build and lead a team with confidence, a team that thrives, a team that's efficient, a team that is proactive and independent, all without having to hover over them like a hawk. I have spent over 20 years coaching entrepreneurs, business owners, just like you, to build high performing, profitable teams that elevate their business. And I'm super excited to help you unleash your team's true potential. So let's talk about who this is for so that you know whether you should stick around or not. This is for you if you've ever micromanaged or if you're currently micromanaging and you would like to reclaim your time and, let's be frank, your sanity. It's really hard to get stuff done when you're focused on what everyone else is doing. If you've ever struggled to delegate tasks because you're afraid that they won't be done correctly or on time, maybe you have delegated tasks and they haven't been done correctly or on time, and that's why you've got that block to doing more delegating. If you've noticed that your team seems to be lacking motivation or enthusiasm, and you'd like to find ways to kind of reignite the spark. If you feel like you spend a lot of your day firefighting, jumping from one crisis to another, and in part that is happening because there's a lack of awareness or competency or commitment on your team. And if you're ready to just flat out transform things from feeling stressed as a leader and a manager to feeling empowered and serene, someone who's inspiring their team to greatness, you are in the right place. So again, I'm Deanna Maio. I'm the founder and director of The Vivid Woman. And today we're going to talk about how to explore boosting your team's efficiency without feeling like you have to be there every single moment to make that happen. And so if you would like to see your team be more effective, more productive, more engaged, you are in the right place. As a matter of fact, if that's you and you're joining me here live, please comment #live. If you're catching on the replay, awesome. So glad you're here. Comment #replay. That would help us out a lot. All right, so let's picture this. You're a busy business owner with a million things on your to-do list or plate. But instead of focusing on growth and strategy as much as you'd like, you find yourself bogged down in the day-to-day of your business. You know, Michael Gerber talks about when we start a business, it's usually because we're good at the thing that we're going to offer our clients. We are the technician. And then over the course of the growth of our business, we need to move into manager and then into visionary. If you haven't read The E-Myth Revisited, I highly recommend it. Fabulous book. If you are a business owner, you will see yourself in it, I would bet. So when we're bogged down with the day to day and we have a team, we aren't always able to either spend the time or provide them with what they need, oftentimes because they're not able to do what we need them to be able to do. And we are taking over things that maybe are keeping us from the things that we really should be doing as the business owner. And your team, while capable, they might seem like they constantly need some sort of guidance. And you feel like you're playing this never ending game of just taking care of one challenge and it goes away and then another one pops up. When I was a kid, we had this place called Showbiz Pizza Palace. It later was bought by Chuck E. Cheese. And there was I don't know if you all know this game, Whack-A-Mole, where you have the big hammer and you have to hit the moles that pop up out of the ground. That's what it can feel like. And that's the problem that we are tackling today. So I have some tips for you to help you move forward to where your team's efficiency and productivity are boosted so that then you have time to go focus on the things that only you can do. Because even though all of us are valuable, there are certain skills that we have as business owners that our team might not have. And there are certain responsibilities as the owner of the business that are ours that our team isn't responsible for, like strategy and direction. And I want you to have time to focus on those things. Otherwise, it's going to be the same slog every day, and it doesn't feel like things are moving forward. So if you're ready for some tips, drop me tips in the chat so I know, and let's get the party started. All right. The fact is, you might not like me much after I share this first tip. As a matter of fact, you might not like me much for all of them because there is an element of our own behavior, what we're doing or not doing, what we know to do or we don't know to do, that creates this challenge in the business. I mean, after all, as the business owner, we are the captain of the ship. We are setting the direction. And the first one is it's all about letting go of control. As a matter of fact, I've often said control is an illusion anyway. There's only so many things we can control. It's what we do, what we say, what we think, right? How we feel. I can't control you. As much as I wish I could control other people sometimes, I can't. And if you find yourself hovering over your team, either figuratively or literally, you have to let go of the reins. And I understand not wanting to do that when maybe you've been burned a little bit before. But we have to trust our team to do their jobs and empower them to take ownership over their domain. So one of the things that you can do is just start small by delegating one task at a time. And gradually increasing as the trust increases, your team proves themselves you can give them more. Now, I've been teaching delegation for 20 years, and I know that there are some very real things that create resistance for business owners when it comes to delegating. I have heard it all, I can promise you. And one of the ones I hear a lot is, I have all this stuff to do. I don't have time to delegate. And I can understand that because when we're looking at a full task list, it can be very overwhelming. And because we know what we know, if we were to delegate, it would take time for us to convey what we know so that they can go about helping us. There is a way, however, that you can get started without having to do a whole lot of prep. I kind of think of it like when people hire a housekeeper to come clean their house, but they clean up before the housekeeper. Well, many business owners think, oh, I have to get these things done or I have to get this ready to delegate before I can actually delegate it. I would argue that in many cases that's not actually true. And when we teach our delegating system in the high performing profitable team formula program, we wipe those myths out completely. But one of the ways you can get started is just share your task list with your team Ask them, what task do you think you could help me with? Even if it was just to get it started, even if you had just a little guidance. And if you record that guidance, now you have it for the future and they could help you get that task started again and again and again. Or perhaps the next time they take on a little bit more. We have to start breaking these things down in our mind into smaller pieces. And that way we can get forward movement. All right, tip number 2 is all about communicating effectively. And of course, the thing about communicating is most of us think we're doing a good job, and most of us could probably improve. Let's be frank, right? Communication is the key if we want to have a high-performing team. Open and honest communication that is clear and specific when we're talking about expectations is absolutely critical. And we need our team members to be able to feel comfortable expressing their ideas and their concerns. So, one way that you can go about doing this is by scheduling regular check-ins with your team to discuss progress, challenges, and goals. Now, many of you are listening to this and you go, yeah, Deanna, but I don't really have time for that. Well, I would argue you have to make the time. Because the fact is, you're either going to spend the time on it now or you're going to spend time on things later. I like to think of regular check-ins like an insurance policy. I don't need my homeowner's insurance until something goes wrong, but I pay the bill every month. Maybe if I'm smart and I have the cash available, I pay it, once a year. Same with my car. I have auto insurance. Do I need it every day that I drive? No, I only need it when I need it. But when I need it, it's there for me. And if we've been building relationship in regular check-ins with our team, well, then it's like an insurance policy. It helps keep things from blowing up and getting worse. Small challenges can be dealt with right when they're small instead of when they have, they blow up into something huge. And when I need my team member later, I have a good relationship built up with them. We have communication in place. They're much more likely to help me in the way that I need helped. So instead of you running the meeting and you having all the responsibility on you for the agenda and what's going to get talked about, have them bring the agenda, starting with their achievements of the last week. Or if you're already talking about achievements on a day-to-day basis, which I hope that you are, have them bring their challenges, what they need from you, what their goals are, what are the things they'd like to learn more about, and what support and resources do they need from you to be able to keep moving forward on the things that you have tasked them with. Not only does this grow their leadership skills, but it takes something that would be on your plate off your plate by creating the agenda. And if you're not talking about achievements on a daily basis, like we teach in our start of shift scoop and our end of shift epilogue, and you want to know a little bit about that, put achievements in the chat or the comments, and I will see that you get something to help you with that with your team. It's a complete game changer. All right, let's talk about tip number 3, and that is all about setting clear expectations. I'm reminded of who out there has seen When Harry Met Sally? If you've seen it, let me know. There's a scene in When Harry Met Sally where Harry and Sally are with their friends, and those friends are moving in together. They're a couple, and they get into this conversation about a wagon wheel coffee table. The guy in the couple really loves it. The woman doesn't love it. And she says, I'm just trying to help you have good taste. And he says, I have good taste. And she says, well, everybody thinks they have good taste, just like everybody thinks they have a good sense of humor, but everyone can't possibly have good taste. Not everyone can possibly have a good sense of humor. And the idea here is everyone thinks that they're a good communicator, that they're clear. But I can promise you, at whatever level of clarity you think you have, it's not consistent and it's not always enough that your team has everything that they need and they know what they need to know to be able to move forward. And this applies to really any communication that you have with your team, whether it be about goals, it's a task assignment or delegation, it's about the vision of the business. None of us are as clear as we think we are or we'd like to be, and I'm in that boat as well. So, what I want to encourage you to do is just start by getting even more clear about roles and responsibilities and defining expectations by utilizing SMART goals more often in your everyday communications. Now, if you're not familiar with SMART as an acronym, it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. I've seen people talk about use the A for action oriented, like there's a verb in it somewhere, write a report. I've also seen people use the R to mean realistic. I like that one too. But setting clear objectives for your team using SMART goals can really help reduce any time that they're going to spend getting clear, which is usually not very productive time, right? If I delegate a task to someone on my team and then they have to come back to me with questions, now we've delayed the start of the project or of the task. We want to try to eliminate as much of that as possible. Even worse, what if they can't get a hold of you and then they spend a lot of time trying to find the answer and they waste time researching something that they wouldn't have had to have researched otherwise? I don't like anybody wasting their time. Is it going to happen sometimes? Yes. Do I have to like it? No. Now, if you're not sure on what the SMART goal looks like, here's a tip. Ask them to write it first. Write a first draft, and then you can offer some feedback to improve it. Yeah. All right, let's talk about tip number 4, and that's all about investing in development. When you invest in your team's professional development, you help them grow and excel in their roles. So whether that's training opportunities to learn new software, new skills, maybe you have a larger organization where you can offer some sort of mentorship program between those who have been around for a while, where they're mentoring newer team members. And in general, just offering constructive feedback on a regular basis to help them reach their full potential. I know that a lot of us don't love giving constructive feedback. It feels uncomfortable. And usually that's because you don't have a model for how to do it, where it becomes about the behavior you need and it's not personal. If you'd like to have a model for how to deliver constructive feedback that can be heard and acted upon and that reduces defensiveness, we should definitely talk because we offer that in our high performing profitable team formula program. And I can tell you, I have had clients left, right, all comment on how much easier it becomes and how our own uncomfortableness, that's not a word, our own discomfort reduces when we have a model to follow. So, besides delivering constructive feedback more often, instead of just sitting and being upset or frustrated because work didn't get done the way you wanted it to, I want to encourage you to really create a culture of continuous learning, whether that's looking at things as an experiment and we try it and we see what happens and we learn from it. It's also all about celebrating achievements more often and recognizing effort, even when the result of that effort didn't turn out the way we thought it might. And one of the ways you can do this is by having a skill swap on a regular basis within your team. So the way that works is each team member offers to teach a skill they excel in to another team member who wants to learn about it. And this cross training creates an environment where people feel collaborative and they're excited to learn. And those that are doing the skill teaching learn about how to teach more effectively as well. Now, before I share our 5th and final tip for today, I want to talk about what's possible when you have put some of these tips in place and you're seeing your team more efficient and productive. You're likely to see them taking more ownership of their tasks. Their morale and their job satisfaction gets higher. So now you have a higher retention rate. And many of us know that having to hire for, a replacement person takes a lot of time, energy, and money, depending on how you recruit. Not to mention who's doing that work in between when the one person leaves and the new person starts. You're going to see more creative ideas and innovation among your team members because they're going to feel more empowered to share their ideas. You're going to see everyone working more aligned and cohesive because we're all working towards common goals that have been communicated clearly. And as our team grows in their skill sets, the business is more successful. Everyone's operating more at their fuller potential, which means the business operates at a more full potential. And who doesn't want that? Right? If I can get my car to drive efficiently at 55 miles per hour, which my engine is geared to 55 is the most efficient, why would I want to drive at 75? Well, you think you're going to get there faster, and you might, but it's not nearly as efficient and it's not nearly as effective. My tires wear out sooner at the higher speed. So it's just one way to think about how can I help everyone feel better about what they're doing at work? Because when we like our work, we show up, we contribute, and we enjoy ourselves. Who doesn't want that? So it all comes down to this. If you know you're ready to transform your team and take your business to a whole new level because they are more engaged, more productive, and effective, I want to invite you to head on over to deanna.live/game plan and schedule a high performing, profitable team game plan session with me. Now, this session is going to help you to get clear on exactly who you want on your team. What's the crystal clear vision for your ideal team makeup, the roles, the responsibilities? We're going to get really clear on the hidden challenges, the blind spots that are keeping your team from being as effective as you would like them to be. And I can promise you it's a whole lot simpler to clear those blind spots out than you think. And you're going to leave the session renewed and inspired, and you'll know the number one most powerful action you can take next to move forward. Now, I do have limited spots available for those sessions, so don't sleep on it. Head on over there now to deanna.live/game-plan to secure your session now. All right, tip number 5. It's one of my favorites. And it's all about building a culture of trust. Trust is the foundation of any successful team, of any successful relationship, really. And when we foster a culture of trust and accountability, team members feel valued, they feel respected, and they feel supported. Now, how can you go about doing this? Well, it's easy for me to say lead by example and demonstrate trust in your team, and they will demonstrate trust in you. However, that is a little vague. So I've got a very specific idea for you. And that is, I want to challenge you to implement a trust building activity during your next team meeting. So this could be starting off the meeting by sharing a personal or professional win from the week. Depending on the size of your team, you could have a team member call out someone else for a job well done on something. And this will create a sense of openness and connection among your team members. And so, with that, I want to thank you for being here with me today as we explored how to boost your team up to the stars without hovering over every little thing. Take one of these tips, put it into practice, and I can promise you, you're going to see your team become higher performing within minutes, days. And I hope you found these insights valuable and actionable. I want to invite you to stay tuned for more tips and tricks and strategies to help you lead with confidence and achieve even more results with your team. Until then, take great care and keep shining bright, and we'll see you next time.